Well, the Browns 38-15 losers today at FirstEnergy Stadium. And yes, that's where we are. That is not the face-off by the lake ice rink behind us. I think that's what they're calling it, Mary Kay. It is just the tarp on the football field, as the Browns will not be back here for a couple of weeks. They travel to play Baltimore next week. And Mary Kay, they are going to Baltimore in about as bad a state as you could go in. This defense is a mess. Jacoby Brissett is a mess. You can start wherever you want on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. Let's start with the turnovers. Jacoby Brissett, 3 more turnovers just from him, 4 in all. That accounted for 24 points in this game. You take those away, the Browns win 15-14. So turnovers, I think, were the name of the game, and it was like a comedy of errors as the game went along. But I just really think your starting quarterback cannot be turning the ball over like this.
Yeah, and Ashley, that was one of the things that with Jacoby Brissett, that's something he doesn't do, is turn the ball over. That's how he came as advertised, and unfortunately it just hasn't been happening.
That was Jacoby Brissett's whole reputation when Cleveland went and got him, and it's been true throughout his career. He is a game manager, and game managers don't necessarily make huge plays to win you games, but what they don't do is allow you to beat yourselves, essentially, by turning the ball over. So it definitely is uncharacteristic for Jacoby Brissett, but I will say I don't think it's surprising given this New England defensive front. We heard all week, especially from offensive line coach Bill Callahan, about how fundamentally sound they are. They don't make mistakes. They're aggressive. And of course, this is a coach that knows Jacoby Brissett. His career got started in New England. He played for Bill Belichick. So I think the fact that they were able to put him under some pressure and cause some of those takeaways isn't that surprising.
And Mary Kay, it really did feel like Bill said, listen, Nick Chubb, you're not beating us. Kareem Hunt, you're not beating us. Jacoby, you've got to beat us.
Absolutely. I mean, it was almost the same as when Brandon Staley said, oh, we knew they were going to have to pass the ball, and we weren't worried about that. One of the things that Jacoby Brissett really struggled to do today was connect with Amari Cooper. He only caught 4 of 12 targets. They had a hard time on the deep ball. It just was a constant battle. And, you know, I asked Kevin Stefanski afterwards, would you even think about making a quarterback change? He said no, unequivocally. There was no hesitation whatsoever. So that doesn't seem to be in the cards, but this has to change.
And they've left themselves a little option, too, because that quarterback change would be to Joshua Dobbs, who has barely played. Ashley, on the defensive side, kind of the same thing. They've left themselves little room for error with some of these players, and it hasn't been working out. Just again, another day where they gave up a bunch of big plays to an offense that didn't even score an offensive touchdown last week against Detroit.
Yeah, and I mean, it seemed like, again, it was the same problems we've seen, some mistakes by the secondary. You know, Grant Delpit slipped and fell on 1 touchdown. There were a bunch of missed tackles, again, when Ramondre Stevenson had, I think, a 31-yard touchdown run. You saw Jordan Elliott whiff. You saw Martin Emerson whiff, both on the same run. There was a play for a big, it wasn't a rush, but big yards after catch situation that Grant Delpit and JOK actually collided on. So there were just these mistakes like that. It's, you know, would call it a comedy of errors, but it's not funny because it's costing these guys some serious points and games in a lot of cases.
Yeah, Mary Kay, I mean, we've sort of reached that point where everything's on the line, I think. You know, if they want to make a change at coordinator, they can do that. If they need to make lineup changes, they can do that. And you know, we've talked about this a little bit, but you've also got to look at how this defense was built.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, you're looking at some of these young players, and they're not playing well. They're making mistakes, and you know, you just have to wonder if they are going to hold up as they go through this next gauntlet of really good quarterbacks and really tough teams. They've got back-to-back games against the Ravens and Bengals coming up. It's not going to get any easier, and it's slipping away from them right now.
Yeah, the quarterbacks they've lost to, Bailey Zappi, Justin Herbert, obviously a good one. Who am I missing here? Marcus Mariota and Joe Flacco. In 2022, they lost to Joe Flacco and he had a 110 rating. That's where this defense is at. Browns lose 38-15 here at FirstEnergy Stadium. We'll have it all covered at cleveland.com/Browns.